Okay, welcome everybody. This is a beautiful day. I'm with the two Vuyos, Vuya Vumisa, who's in Benoni, and Vuyo Molloy. I got it right. Yeah, Molloy, who's a great kid, a great visionary artist, and he's also in Hautang. What part of Hautang are you in?
I'm in the West, Krugersdorp. It's Krugersdorp.
Kuzo, yeah, where there's a lot of mining and stuff like that. So it's an honor to
Yeah.
have you here. Vuyo has I'll just so today I'll say so yeah, so Vuyo Vumisa, who's with me, we've been doing shows together, and he's a very good artist and a very good musician and visual artist, especially with photography. And he was so surprised when he saw your work. I'm talking to Vuyo Molai. So we want to say that we really appreciate your work. In the background, is that this is your workspace, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
very beautiful. So this is kind of like your shrine. And you've spoken to me when we were
This is
talking
my
about your artist. Yeah, go ahead. You speak. Yeah.
yeah.
It's
This
like
is my shrine. This is
it's a
where
shrine.
we.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is where
You're
we.
reminding me
You know.
of Fela, the Nigerian musician. He's also like you. So very beautiful work that you do. And we want to thank you because you've said that something very important. Two things. For you, art and photography is one of your arts, but you have other arts. For you, art is something that we have no excuse if we don't create it because you can't say, oh, I need this and that. You create it from the materials in your environment and also from within your community. So it doesn't matter whether you have a, an 8 millimeter camera or iPad or even if you only have a pencil, whatever instrument you have, that's what you have to do to create imagery and to create spirituality. And that's what I want to thank you. So, and you basically said that art is invisible and we have to create no matter what environment we are in. And I think that's very important for Black people because right now we're living in a world in which a lot of things are working against us and we're not at the same economic social level as not social but that same economic power level as others, but we continue to create the greatest art forms in the world. The music that came out of South Africa, South African jazz right now is one of the most expressive. You have Amapiano, which is tearing up all the dance halls. You have hip hop, which came from African Americans, and you have gospel music, which came from Black people. So no matter what we have, we create, and we want to thank you for that. Vio Vamisa, can you speak to what you thought a little bit about the images that Vuyo Mola does in his photography? What do you think about it?
Yo, man. First, let me greet you guys,
Yeah, greetings.
and
Sorry. Yeah, greetings. Yeah.
yeah, man. I'm big to you, Vuyo, we have the same name, bro.
I'm an outsider. Yeah.
Yeah,
Your work is deeply inspiring, deeply inspiring, and
Yeah.
I saw like a deep reflection, man. Our roots, and so much beauty, so much color, man.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so much. It's so original,
Yeah.
So
yeah,
And I would say that
yeah,
I'm going to go back. It kind of reminds me of like the images you take, like the one where you took with the lady in the white. She's dressed in a white cloth. It
yeah,
reminds me
yeah,
of it reminds me of Catholicism or prayer or even Zulu or Xhosa traditional spirituality when people have that where they're in the white and you capture the image in which it seems like a saint who's like looking to heaven, but there's still the
yeah,
suffering there. So I've noticed that, and also the one that you have where the flowers or the leaves or the plants are covering
yeah,
the guy's face and you see his body. This is also a very prayer-like image. And it reminds me, I'm going back to like Italian painting, which is very passionate, very expressive, very flamboyant. And I think that's kind of like your style. So it seems like with your imagery, you enter prayer. What do you think, Via? Do you think I'm right or wrong, or am I close to getting it right?
everything is from the spirit, man. You know, when it's
It's from
from
the
the
spirit.
spirit, it's real. So yeah, man. I think that's how my ancestors are trying to communicate with each and every, the environment and everything. I think that's how it goes. But
Yeah.
yeah, man, it's all about that. I think it has some ancestry involved in it. I don't
Yes,
know,
and that's
but
that we were heading to because it also reminds me of voodoo. So I think that what that means is that you also are a Sangoma. People think that Sangoma is someone that you go into a small town. No, you are, but you're a modern day one because what you're doing is
yeah,
spiritual. And you said that art is spiritual. To me, that means
Yeah.
it means that we are invoking invisible forces.
Yeah.
And you, as
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
artist, you are not the one who created that art. You even said it. We don't create art; we gather it, or whatever. You didn't create it. You are channeling your ancestor. I even believe that you're channeling your descendants too, because it's a circle in Africa. The ancestor and the descendant and the forefather. It's all one thing. My ancestor is my dad. My descendant is my son. But my son is also my father. So it's a circle, and that's what I see. You're channeling energy, even from looking at your the design in your loft, in your studio. I see the one where you have like the goats. Is it a goat or a cow's head in the back?
Yeah,
The
it's a
skull.
concept.
The
Yeah.
skull.
Yeah.
That's a very primitive. That's a primitive, ancient, spiritual concept. So we want to recognize you and say thank you for that. Now we're going to jump to we're going to come back to you because I'm just going back and forth. So now we're going to go to Vuyo. So very quickly, Vuyo Vumisa. So very quickly, you showed me some images of yours, which were fantastic. And the first thing I noticed in them is that there was a lot of desolation and a sort of feeling of emptiness. And it was in the townships and the neighborhoods in South Africa, where it's not that it was a negative type of image, but it showed us you captured the sort of ghost-like spirit of the place, which has been affected since white settler colonialism, or forget about that, the problems that South Africa went through post-apartheid and after apartheid. And a lot of these neighborhoods have a sort of desolation in them. But you're also capturing the invisible because the way you use contrast in your pictures, where you have the white sky, then you have the horse that was brown, is that you capture the way you use color and the way you use space. It captures something about the spirit of that area that we can't use unless we look at the photograph. What do you think? Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Like basically, I would say that I have a personal experience, with
Yeah.
with most of these pictures and places that I've been to,
Yeah.
literally, I know what it's like to stay in the shacks. So
Yeah.
I know what
And can I say
it's like
something?
to be
I want to
in
thank you because I don't even want to cry now. I want to thank you because through your photographs, you showed pictures. You said you showed shacks. And a lot of people would say, why must we show these things? Why must we make our areas look bad? But this is the way our areas look bad. And remember the pictures I showed you in the US, which look like just the same shacks that you were talking about how Black people live. And we shouldn't be ashamed to show it and capture it spiritually. Sorry to jump in front of you. Continue with that thought about the shacks. Yeah.
Sure. So, like, I literally have a direct impact, So
Yeah.
hence, I guess me being in that moment and allowing myself to, come back and
Yeah.
reflect.
You've
And
seen things. Yeah.
yeah,
You've
yeah,
gone
man, yeah,
through
man.
it. Yeah. And your
I,
art, sorry to jump in front of you. Continue. Yeah.
yeah, so I guess I could see me being a medium, exploring, that and
Yeah.
but images because they make me feel good, in a way,
Yeah.
and so I have to show where I'm coming from,
Where you coming from? Can I ask
and
you a question? The one where you took with the shacks, where you can see the top of them from the sky view, where is that?
um
Very,
that's in Wadville, very close to
Watford.
Wadville, Wadville, yeah, in
Okay,
Benoni.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So
So,
I was in fact I'm sitting by the bridge, cross over that bridge, and then I saw like a woman just walking out of her shack, just pouring water, from outside, like dirty
yeah.
water, stuff like that. So I was like, oh, okay, ish, this is some heavy stuff, man.
Oh, it's
So
very
it's
heavy.
what
But can I ask you a
inspired.
question? When you go ahead, yes. You saw her pouring
Yeah,
water.
no,
What happened after that? Yeah.
you can continue. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah. So what I was gonna say was, and then what about the one with? So when you were doing, what I was gonna ask you was, when you're taking those images, do people know that you're there and you're part of the community intimately, or they've used to seeing you doing photograph around there, so they trust you to capture the way you capture their environment? Yeah.
Um, yes and no.
Yeah,
Several
it's
times.
kind of like both. You have to be. You're also an adventurer. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it it's a moment, you know. I have to literally,
Yeah,
literally,
yeah.
yeah.
I keep saying Vuyo. Yeah, but I'm Vuyo Mole. What are your thoughts on what he just said? Because I see that you agree with him, and I do also. Yes.
Everything that we capture is just moments because it just happened like, and then gone, and then you are safe because you're having it on the digital cam. So it's easy like that because you won't see like the most repeated images. We only capture one image and then we it's like that. I think he's just good at it. If now
I
he's
agree with
talking
you.
about moments,
Yeah,
man.
memory, and I think that's true. And I think that in photography, what means having a good eye is that you see something in an instant intuitively within your spirit. That maybe because you're the artist, the other person doesn't see that, and then you capture it. And there's something that you see in it which registers in the human eye and the human body, which has that spiritual part, which is invisible, that goes beyond the picture. I think that's what you said. Would you agree? Yeah. So that's very beautiful. And both of you guys are very, very good photographers and very good visualists. So I want to go back to Vuyo and Malloy. You also mentioned that you have Black Art First. That's the movement that you've started, right? Yes, yeah. And I agree with it. It sounds very aggressive because people say, "Oh, why must we say Black Art First?" But we have to because I always say, if you don't stand up for yourself, who's going to stand up for you? Can you expound on that, please? Yeah. We
It's
have to
over
be first.
like we just I just thought of how about because I saw a lot of people that are having beautiful works, beautiful art, and then I was like there's people around the environment, and I was like let me just try to take these people in, move these people by my space, and then we try to work together. So that's how the word Black Art First came about, because it was only Black creatives by that time that we had. And how we marketed our work as well. The people that we met was mostly Black people, and people who valued our work, it was Black people. So it clearly tells you our work does resonate with Black people.
With us,
stories.
Yeah.
So having that, and then we were like, let's just have Black at First, and then let's just push from there. I think now we have about 10 years, been pushing the whole thing. So a lot of influence has been happening, a lot of impact has happened, and it still happens, it's still gonna happen. And there's a whole lot of things, man, like when it comes to Black at First. Hence I told you that we are not only about photography, we are also about painting, we are also about drawing, we are also about, we are all about art as a whole. You still
art
remember
as a
what
whole. Yeah, it would, and I agree with you. And what I take from what you're saying is that if we don't tell our stories, nobody will. It's not Hollywood that's supposed to tell our stories. We have to say it. So that's why we say Black art, and it has to be controlled by us. So, and I really love your vision. What do you have to say for that? Vuyo Vumisa. I have to go back between the two Vuyos today. Go ahead. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No. Yeah. No, thank you very much. We love you very much, and we love the work that you're doing. Yeah. So what do we have to say, Vuyo? Yeah.
Yeah, man. It's about because we've got all these gifts, and we have to use them,
Yeah, we have to use them. Yeah. Yep.
And so correct it best, using the potential, basically, it led me to finding like a spiritual path, because now I fall in love with creating, and remaining present and open, within the divine, like divine counters, basically, So
divine answers, yeah.
Yeah, man. It's beautiful to be able to pause and reflect, and capture all those moments, and using all these mediums, and yeah, man.
Yeah. So I got Vuyo Mola. Did you get the images I sent you that Vuyo Vumisa? Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
Very good work. And what I was saying is that if you look at those images, especially the one with the shacks and the one with the boy who has the horse and is colorful, you can see a sort of emptiness and death and desolation, but there's still a sort of spiritual positivity about it. And I was telling him that there are images in the US we have the same type of shacks and everything in which Black people live. And he couldn't believe that it was the same thing. And what I'm saying is that the areas and the locations and the townships, these are created by white people to close us within. But even though they do it, we still create very good art. But we have to tell the truth. Because with your art, what you do is you show people in your community who are under hardships, but they are very lifted, sort of optimistic, religious sense of power, and you're also Afrofuturistic, which is your artistic vision. His is that he has a more somber, sort of dark look at it, but it's also elevated, but it's more like going between prayer and also sorrow at the same time. But the good thing is that you guys are both different. But what we wanted to mention, you may not know this, Vuyo Moloi, that in the United States, in a city in which Black people were living, because there was a group of Black people who were becoming socialists and fighters, the US government bombed their whole neighborhood. I'll send a picture to you. And when you look at the buildings, it looks sort of like shacks because that's what they bombed. And nobody knows this, but it's common news. And they killed everybody in the neighborhood because they said, oh, there's 1 or 2 drug dealers in that neighborhood. And the thing is that when something like that happens in the US, no one says anything. But when something happens in South Africa or Nigeria, they, oh, see what happened. But the point I want to make as an artist, because I know that you're not political, is that we are all connected and there are stories that we have to tell. So he's showing some dark stories with the desolation. You're storing stories about how people try to rise to the level of saints within a situation that's very difficult. And all of this reminds me of what happened in the US where they bombed a neighborhood with Black people. You saw it, Vuyo. Can you speak to it a little bit, even like about a minute? Yeah. And the thing is that his images that he did looked almost identical to the images that I showed him. And to me, that represents the attempt of the world, through whatever reasons, is trying to push us down into the graveyard, but we're not going to go because we are spiritual. And because, as you said, Vuyo Moloi, art is an invisible spiritual action. So can you speak a little bit about, Vuyo, about the images we talked about with the bombing in the US? Yeah. No, Vuyo Vumisa first, then to you. Sorry.
Speaking about the ones that you sent me from Misa, but it's
Yeah.
fine.
Oh yeah. Go ahead. Oh yeah. Okay. You get. Sorry. Yeah. I got mixed up. But you can continue your thought. Then we'll go to Vumisa. You can continue. What do you think? Yeah.
No. Let's give Misa a time.
Yeah. So what do you think? So what we wanted to, because we're speaking to you, Moloi, about some images that he showed that you wouldn't believe that in 1985, a U.S. government bombed a whole neighborhood and killed which Black people were, to get 1 or 2, 3 people, and nobody talks about it. Like Sharpeville, people talk about Sharpeville, but they don't talk about what happened. And also his imagery reminded me of it. So can you speak to it, Vumisa?
Yeah, man. It shows black hate, literally black hate. That's a black neighbor, right? And
I can't hear you clear, my kid.
Yeah, he's cutting out. So yeah, so it's okay. Vuyo, you're cutting out because I think the connection is bad. But basically, when he saw the image, he was so angry, and he even texted me, sounded like me, like he really wanted to cry or something. And I felt the same way because this happened. I'll send you the pictures. When you look at the buildings, and this is a story it's not conspiracy theory. They destroyed a whole Black neighborhood, and it hasn't recovered since then. So what I'm saying is that when we look at life in Brazil, in South Africa, or in the US where Black people live, when you go to the townships or the locations, or even beyond, like I've been to Deep Sloot, Deep Sloot, and when you see how people live, you have to remember that inside of there are people who are spirits, but what you're seeing is the result of apartheid, of racism, segregation, in which they've tried to destroy us, and you can still see the remnants of it. But your job as a photographer, or my job as an artist, is to capture all of that and show the light and the darkness, but to create something that's hopeful. What do you think, Moloi?
Yeah, it's clear. It's very beautiful, man. I mean, at the end of the day, you're trying to create whatever, you're trying to create memories for the other generation, I think, or or trying to make peace
for the descendants and for the ancestors. Yes. Yeah, go ahead. The other generation. Sorry to block you, but I like that. Yeah.
So that our kids can grow knowing actually what are these white people doing to us, actually.
Yeah.
Even if we
and also we want to say, as Africans, we don't hate white people, but we have to say so much violence has come from the white race. I'm not saying it's because they're bad, but maybe we have to figure out why it happened. But that's what's happening. Sorry to interrupt you. Yeah.
Okay. Now
No, go
to
ahead.
move on, I was just trying to give you a hint on, it's not like we hate white people.
No.
Remember that white people came with machinery. You know what machinery does, right? It destroys. So
Yeah.
I think from there now you will notice their purpose and what is our purpose as black. I don't know if maybe you hear what I'm saying.
No, I understand, because we know what our purpose is. So they came with the machinery, and the thing
Yeah.
is that even though machinery can be destructive, it's also very positive. It can have good effects also. But also, as once you get into the mind of the black consciousness, which I think when we say Kwantu is the whole world. White people and black people, to be honest, we're all one people, but something happened after migration. But what we do as artists is that we look at everything and we put it through our own head and our own mind, and then we create what, for lack of a better word, you can call it medicine or sorcery or technology. We create African technology which deals with the whole thing. That's the way I read what you say. What do you think, Molloy? Yeah.
Yeah. Clear. It's clear. You just, made it easy for me too. I was thinking a long way. And
Yeah.
you just described. Very beautiful and very nice.
Okay. So what do you have? So before we move on, so I'll just have some last thoughts. So what thoughts do you have, Vumisa? I'm going to go back to, while you said, I'm going to go back to one of the works that you did. So let's go back to the one with the horse. So where is that? The one that has the horse and the lady the boy that's sitting down beside it.
Yeah, that's in Soweto,
It's a wait. Okay.
Yeah, that's in Soweto. So basically, the boy he's collecting scraps,
Yeah.
He's asking for something from door to door, and then in return, yeah, it accepts cans, all these like steel metal parts and so
Steel and
on.
metals.
So
Yes. I have a story
yeah,
for you. When I saw your picture, that's why I sent you the other picture in Baltimore, where black people live. Some of the people who do drugs like heroin and stuff to make money, they ride a horse and they carry steel and metal scraps and everything, and they take it for money. Then they use it later on to go get high. I'm serious. So once again, so you're saying that those guys pick up those things and they recycle them and make money off of them? Is that how it works? Or
exactly,
yeah,
that's how it works. That's
yeah.
how it works.
And I noticed that in that image you use the contrast. The horse and everything has the bright red color. Then everything else is black and white in the sky. What influenced that for you? What was? Can you explain what's your inspiration for that type of aesthetic?
Usually the guys that collect these cans for recycling, they usually have trolleys, So, but
Yeah,
this
that's
one,
probably.
for some apparent reason, he had a horse, man, and he was a kid, you understand, and he was all alone, Yeah,
And that goes back to
So I was like,
desolation.
okay,
Mhm.
sure,
Go ahead. Yeah.
man, Yeah, and he was a kid and he was on a horse, and collecting all these scraps, So he was in there, in fact, trying to find food, trying to find something to eat, just beside behind him, And then
Yeah.
he ate and ate and he was sitting down,
Yeah.
That moment it hit me, So that's when
Yeah.
I took the picture.
Yeah. And what I
Yeah.
like is that you developed it afterwards. I like how you mixed the light and the gray together. And even the boy, part of the boy's arm, you can see the brown red, but the other part is in black and white. So it's a very used color very well in there in that. Yeah.
Pain, pain, isolation, poverty, but then there's hope, because
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's in his hustle every day,
I agree. So now we're going back to the other side to Vuyo Mola. Same thing. So in Mola, what you show is you show a lot of hope and sort of like prayer like spirituality and futurism in your stuff. But you can still see the pain because you can tell that the images that you're doing show people rising above pain. Now I want to talk about the image that you have with the lady where you can see the sun overhead, and then she has you know what I'm talking about, this one. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Very beautiful. It's the
Yeah.
same thing. So it's more joyous. I'm not trying to compare you guys as artists. I think that both of you express pain, but I think that Vuyo Vumisa goes to more the darker side, which is important because we're there. And your goes towards after you pass the darkness, you're now going to the light, but you're still a little bit in darkness. And it looks like she's looking up into the sky. She has the cross on her head, and also you can see the sun over her head also. So you guys are both showing different parts of the spectrum of pain and light. I even go darker than Vuyo Vumisa. You know me. When he read my shit, he said, "This shit sounds terrible. Woman stabbing herself in the throat." Then he talks more about pain and hope, but then you talk about pain and then transcendence. It doesn't exist anymore because at Black Art First and we have communities. What are your thoughts, Vuyo Moloi?
The whole point of creating the image was to bring hope to bring hope, because at the end of the tunnel there's always light. You get what I'm saying? No matter
Yeah.
how hard, no matter how hard life is right now, but we know we are best of the best. We are power. Black species actually we are more powerful. So I think
Yeah, we are because we are the origin of culture, and the farther you
yeah,
move away from Africa, the farther away you move away from your roots. We are the roots.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I wrote something in response to your well, let me see if I can find it. I wrote something in response to your artist vision, and this is the way I interpret you. I'm trying to find it now, and I'm hoping that I drank some beer, so I hope I don't slow down too much. This beer stuff is the worst, man. But let me see. I think I found it. Okay, so here it is. So this is your words, but through me. Okay. Art is creating with whatever tools and mediums and instruments you have in your community, in your environment, and even within you. Your body is a medium for art. The memories you hold are a medium for your art. Your spirit is a medium for art. Art is a
yeah,
spiritual activity. It expresses what cannot be expressed through anything other than what you create. In
yeah,
Africa, we have this gift of being able to bring the invisible to the forefront and make it accessible through our crafts, through our songs, through our paintings, through our photographs, through our poetry, through our dancing, through our music, and even our natural language. Our language has cadence, rhythm, and jazz. Art is an activity that takes place within an invisible communal space, which is where our people reside at the deepest level. And it's the job of artists to bring us there and keep us there and inspire us to face the many challenges that we face as Africans in this world, which is against us. Thank you, Vuyo Mola, for the, the enterprise you started, Black Art First. Thank you, Vuyo Vumisa,
yeah.
who I've known for like probably 6 or 7 years, and you've been with me and we've been doing these shows. You guys are very beautiful. Okay, so I'm gonna let any last words from Vuyo Vumisa. Then Moila, who's going to be our leader for today for his inspiration, will take us out. So Vumisa, what do you have to say?
Man, I love the parts where you were saying that you bring like the art form into the invisible,
Yeah.
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 That's
Thank you.
beautiful.
Yeah. Very beautiful. So we're going to enjoy our weekend now. It's Friday. I'm going to get Woza. So we're going to go to Vuyo Moloi. We want to very honor you. I'm almost at the point of tears. We want to honor you because I see you as an elder, even though you may be younger than me. And I respect what you're doing. Any last words to Africa, to people in America, to people in Brazil, to people all over the world? Any last thoughts?
My only last word is let there be light. Let there
There
be
be light.
light.
Let there be
Yeah.
light. Thank you.
Let there be light.
Thank you. I love you guys. Thank you very much. We'll see each other again in a few weeks. Thank you very much.
Definitely.